Welcome to the Headley Highlight Show's Headley Headspaces. The Headspaces are a series of thoughts and musings I have during the course of the week, and I chew all over them and I share them with you. And this week's Headspace is called India and Pakistan Exchange Firepower. But the history of this conflict and the rise of India is the real target, in my opinion. Before I jump all over this headspace, I'd like to say thank you to all the people who have been listening to my show for the last 3 years and also my new subscribers on my YouTube channel. I have 1,184 subscribers. Yes, I'm so pleased about that. I'm trying to get to 1,500 subscribers. So if you could help with that, it will be mostly appreciated. Hit the notifications bell and subscribe to the channel, and I will be delivered directly into your YouTube For You page. Please like, share and comment as this helps with the algorithm, but you can also jump over to my website, denisehedley.com, and make a donation. I accept fiat and cryptocurrencies. You might wish to buy me 3 rings and chips, or you may wish to sponsor Rice Peas Chicken and, of course, a drink and a patty. Now that we've jumped all over the preamble, let's get back to my headspace. And at the top of the headspace, I asked the question, or should I say I actually made a statement. I said India and Pakistan exchange firepower, but the history of the conflict and the rise of India is the real target, in my opinion. And this is the reason why I'm going to say this. Before you look at this conflict, you cannot just look at it at face value because it has a very strong historical perspective. And the importance of that, I'm just going to give you a bit of detail in relation to that. Essentially, if the British were not involved in India basically stripping it dry for 457 years when they were finally booted out, and when they finally did leave, they cut the country into 3 separate pieces. And the result was India, Pakistan and Bangladesh, 3 separate areas. And also the disputed area of Kashmir. Kashmir is the region located in the northern part of the Indian subcontinent and is claimed by these 3 countries, Pakistan, Bangladesh and India, and they all control a portion of Kashmir. So let me give you a little bit of the history. So in 1947, the British were finally kicked out of India. They had ruled for 457 years, as I'd said, and they used all different types of mechanisms. But the most important one is always divide and rule. So there were very diverse communities, mainly Hindu and Muslim communities. And the partition in 1947 came after World War II because basically the UK was broke. The Mountbatten Plan, the Lord Mountbatten Plan, essentially he was the last viceroy of India. He proposed the 2 dominions, India, a majority Hindu country, and Pakistan, a majority Muslim country. And when this happened, civil war broke out. There was a person called Sir Cyril Radcliffe, and he was basically tasked with cutting up and drawing the borders basically within a week or 2. The aftermath of this plan was that 15 million people were displaced, and there was carnage, mass raping, mass confusion. And if you don't know anything about that, it is an indelible stain on the British establishment's exit from India. After the aftermath, there were 2 million people who died in religious riots, mass rapes and massacres. Kashmir was a Muslim majority ruled mainly by a Hindu king at the time. That became a flashpoint as both India and Pakistan claimed it. Now what happened is, as India moved away from Western and imperial types of control, Pakistan moved closer to the West. Because India, as it was becoming more independent, allied itself with the Soviet Union. And what Pakistan was seen as a counterweight to that. So in the 1950s, during the Cold War, India was closely aligned with the Soviet Union and they received economic and military aid. Pakistan allied itself with the West and they joined an alliance called SEATO and CENTO, and they basically supported Western ambitions. And I'm going to play you something to give you a bit of an indication of the role that Pakistan has always played in destabilizing India.
down then. And now again, the same thing is...
You do admit, sir, that Pakistan has had a long history of backing and supporting and training and funding these terrorist organizations.
Well, we have been doing this dirty work for the United States for about 3 decades, and West, including Britain.
So that's your argument that even though
that was a mistake, and we suffered for that. And that is why you are saying this to me. If we had not joined the war against Soviet Union and later on the war after 9/11, this Pakistan's track record, was not, unimpeachable track record.
Defence Minister, I just want to get back to this particular incident.
That was Pakistan's Minister for Defence, Waja Asif, that you heard. And what he was explaining was the fact that Pakistan has allowed itself to be used as a countermeasure against India. So now factor that into your thinking in relation to the conflict that's going on right now. India is essentially independent to a degree of Western influences in a way that Pakistan is not. If you're not aware, Pakistan's previous Prime Minister, Imran Khan, is in jail. And the reason he's in jail is because when hostilities broke out with Russia, he tried to ally himself as a unity candidate, and he wanted to provide not just support, but to say that he's not going to ally himself with the Western ambitions, which was to basically, isolate Russia. And a consequence of him going against that was that he was removed. And what you have in Pakistan is invariably military dictatorships. And these military dictatorships are supported by America and the West.
See, in the American policy approach to Pakistan is we've had a love affair with every military dictator. Every general that's come along has been supported by the United States. The U.S.-Pakistan bilateral relationship could be turned into a TV soap opera. I guarantee you it would be #1 across the world. It's a great story. The United States and Pakistan have these spectacular highs when we're deeply in love with each other, followed almost immediately by deep lows in which we accuse each other of all kinds of things. The United States sanctions Pakistan every conceivable way it can think of. It's also filled with murder, like General Zia's death in 1989, in unexplained events. The roller coaster of U.S.-Pakistani relationship that goes up and down over the last decades is almost in every case built around a great secret project, which remains a secret for about a month and then becomes the best known secret in the world. This is what I mean. If this was a TV soap opera, you'd be glued to the screen. In the 1950s and 60s, the great projects were the U-2 base in Peshawar, which was a secret to Americans, but known to everybody in Pakistan as Little Reston. In the 1960s and 70s, it was Nixon's secret trip to China, and Pakistan as the back door to Beijing. In the 1980s, it was the war against the Soviet Union, a covert operation that had nothing covert about it, and which has even produced at least one good movie. And in this decade, it's been the war against Al-Qaeda and the secret drone strikes, which even the president jokes about on occasion. So much for a secret. It's a remarkably bipartisan record. Republicans and Democrats may not have agreed on many things in foreign policy over the last 50 years, but they've supported dictatorship in Pakistan continuously.
Now think about BRICS and the role of India within BRICS. Think about what's happening in the world at the moment with the desire of the global north to isolate China and the desire to destabilize the BRICS members, Iran, Russia, China, India. And now ask yourself, does this flashpoint seem so unusual, really? And this is the reason why I've said this conflict has absolute context in history, but it absolutely has context in the modern day destabilization of the rise of the global south. At the moment, all of the BRICS members who are the founding members are engaged in some kind of conflict of some description. You have Russia with the destabilization program, and the proxy is Ukraine, supported by the West. You have America acting as a peace broker in that war whilst funding the war, providing security and intelligence, along with the British and everybody else in the global north. Then you have Israel pushing for Iran, another BRICS member, to be bombed and obliterated. And now out of nowhere, you have, I wouldn't say out of nowhere because these flashpoints have been going on for a long time, but never to the level where firepower is being exchanged. Pakistan and India are in a conflict. India, another founding and important BRICS member. So are you seeing a pattern here? Because I'm trying to establish one. And the pattern is these are not random events. These are about hegemonic power, the power of the global north, the power of the petrodollar, and the power of the old establishment to maintain its position as a uni-power power. Not a multipolar power, a uni-power power. America wants to run everything and it wants to ensure that everyone else follows suit. And what you do is you take out the competition. And this is another example about destabilizing, because I heard some commentary today that India is on its way to being a China. It's just 30 years away. So this is my 2 pence on this conflict. This conflict isn't just about what the presentation is. This is about a destabilization of the rise of the global south, and India is a pivotal partner in it. And irrespective of what trade deal you have, you can still destabilize your partners. You know, we're playing the long game here, people. So what's your thoughts and what's your 2 pence? What's your 3 cities? Do you think that this is just an exercise in regional religious conflict, or do you think this conflict has a wider geopolitical significance? Give me your thoughts. Give me your 2 pence, your 3 cities, or your declining dollar price. And today I noticed something else. I was going to round this off, but because I'm doing things and I'm picking up news as I go along, I'm just going to play this to you. This is a further death knell into the current system of finance. And don't forget the role that India is playing in providing alternative financial systems. But this is just a quick news report. I'm just going to bang this in there so you can understand and look at it slightly differently, as I'm hoping we get that conversation going. This is a newsreel from BRICS.
The timely and coordinated steps made by Russia and China to switch to national currencies in trade settlements is also a useful step. As a result, the bulk of our operations is done in yuan and rubles. This means we have a sustainable system of mutual trade that is reliably protected against any attacks by third countries and negative trends in the global market.
And the reason I played that to you is because of the importance of the global financial markets in manipulating other people's countries. That's what sanctions are. So I'm going to draw this to a close because it's going on pretty long. But essentially, the world is changing. And sometimes we see conflicts presented to us as a particular thing. But really, there's a whole lot of other stuff going on back there. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for your listening. Jump up in the comments and see you next week and cut!